All right, the incoming Biden administration plans to release all COVID-19 vaccines instead of holding back that second dose, as was the original plan, and that was part of the Trump administration's plan.
Right, and our next guest is questioning that decision. Joining us to talk about it now, business and market analyst Seth Denson. Seth, thank you so much for joining us back on Wake Up America this morning. So let's start with, why do you think this is a bad idea by the Biden administration?
Well, in large part because studies even from Pfizer itself is showing that the efficacy when only receiving one dose reduces to as low as 52%. Now, just to remind you, right, so Pfizer has already stated that their efficacy rate is roughly 95%. Now, the idea here from the Biden administration is that if we were playing craps in Vegas, it's betting on the come, right? You're hoping that Pfizer and Moderna and these other producers are going to get enough vaccine out to make up that second dose. But that's a scary proposition, especially when you consider that Pfizer's already reduced their original number by half of what they originally said that they could produce. And so that's scary as we start to think about making sure we can get that second dose.
Yeah, and the whole thought process, I get you want to get as many people at least some protection. Right now we're in the 15th wave of coronavirus. It seems like this is never ending, and the cases are going up and up and up, yet we are all still being told to wear masks, wash our hands, and social distance. At that point, I would hope that we are all at least doing that, and I think largely the American people are. But the thought process was that both vaccines being administered about 3 weeks apart, that very specific interval will give somebody the protection they need. If all of the vaccines are released, the protection levels go way down, eventually to non-existent, because this is a two-dose vaccine no matter how you cut it. Is that correct?
Well, that's exactly right. And the additional challenge here, and again, I understand the desire to get this vaccine into as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, but roughly a third of Americans already don't trust this vaccine. If we start to see the efficacy dwindle, and let's fast forward 6, 12, 18 weeks out, and a number of people that got the first dose are now getting coronavirus, we can see that number of lack of trust rise immensely, and then getting Americans to take this vaccine is going to be that much more difficult. Now, the additional challenge to all this, though, is that what we're hearing out of the White House today under Alex Azar is that maybe they already started releasing those second doses to be given as first doses. So while the Biden administration, I am strongly opposing this idea of giving out both doses, there may not be this second round of doses to give out because it sounds like maybe that's already happening.
So would this jeopardize the emergency authorization approval of the vaccine, Seth? I mean, from what you're saying, it sounds like if we're giving out the second dose as the first dose, are we going to run out, or is this going to help us reach, that all-encompassing herd immunity we've been hearing about for about a year?
Yeah, right now we're sitting at about 4.3% herd immunity. We need to get somewhere between probably 60 and 80%, probably closer to 80% according to Dr. Fauci. So, as far as the emergency authorization use, I don't know. This is uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Specifically, though, the emergency authorization was based on 2 doses, so it is likely that could be a going against that.
It's interesting. No clinical trials, as you said, have been done for just one dose of the two-dose vaccines. So it's like we're in uncharted territories. Why would we do that? I wanted to ask you about this quickly. The New York Times had an article out yesterday. And I thought this was laughable now as we're in month 11 almost of dealing with this virus. The New York Times says that many experts are now suggesting not one, but 2 masks, that we all wear 2 masks now instead of 1. And so, I'm reading it thinking, what's the next step? Just don't breathe? Doctors suggest stop breathing, and that way you won't inhale small droplets and tiny particles.
Well, that would certainly get it done. I heard one doctor say that oftentimes, even with 1 or 2 masks, it's like trying to stop smoke with a tennis racket. This virus is out there. Now, certainly, we need people to wear masks, but I don't know about 2 or 3 or even 10 masks, perhaps shields, gloves, I don't know. But we all need to do our part, right, and do what we can to help our fellow citizens. So let's stay covered up, at least for the time being.
All right, good stuff, Seth Denson. Thank you very much. Look forward to having you back on very soon.
Thanks,
Much
Joe.
more ahead.